What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the review and discussion for UnOrdinary episode 302. Why don't I know the episode count anymore? Got 302. I was right. I know the episode count. I know how many episodes of UnOrdinary there are. So, this episode is honestly fucking insane. And I love it. It's great. It's honestly really good. It's an action episode. It's a fight episode, and honestly, it goes pretty well, and it leads to some really interesting conversations and some possibly crazy reveals that I wasn't expecting. So, getting right into it, leads off as always where episode 301 immediately tails off. Remy jumping out to demanding that Ember give her brother back after seeing Brim's use Ray's ability. Remy tries to open up with a sneak attack on Brim's, jumping down and charging a lightning attack as that she shoots down at him, but he manages to evade the attack, though she immediately attacks again with another lightning blast. However, Brim's does outspeed her and catches her with an arm slash. Now, like I said, we got a fight on our hands, and it's a really good fight, honestly. And Remy actually handles her solo against Brim's quite well. She's definitely still outclassed and everything from against him, but you can see that Remy has begun to evolve as a fighter, and from all of her battles since her original fight with Vulcan. Now, again, she is outclassed and she gets attacked a bit, but she does manage to evade a few of his attacks as well, and manages to get some good hits on her own. She manages to catch Brims by the head and electrocute him. Now, Brims, like Vulcan though, grabs her by the arms and sets her arms on fire. As he goes to try and finish off Remy, Kuyo steps in before he can hurt her too badly and gets a pretty good slash on his torso. Now, Brims clearly remembers Kuyo from their first battle, and he tries to electrocute Kuyo as well. He does manage to. And when he gets into contact with Ray's lightning, Kuyo points out that it hurts like hell and becomes unable to move. However, Remy actually points out that his lightning is nothing compared to his. Now, this was a pretty interesting move, actually, because this was a pretty interesting point that Uru made on her part, because where was I in my notes? So she points out that it's pathetic and it's nothing compared to Kuyo's. I've been saying that a lot. Now, she is seemingly unaffected when absorbing it. She's kind of just like absorbing it and able to even redirect it at him. I say this is interesting because it kind of shows, I think, though the authorities have been able to get lightning successfully converted, maybe it's not complete and it is a weaker version like before, like with Ember's versions of the Spectre, or like with Spectre's versions of the Spectral Claw. Now, why do I point this out? Because, like I said, in this, Remy is seemingly unaffected. However, Remy was affected when John was using lightning, when John was using an amplified version of her lightning. A lightning that would have been significantly more powerful than Ray's. Now, Remy, like I said, Remy does absorb Brims' attack, and she uses it to unleash an insanely powerful blast of lightning against Brims that he almost manages to evade, but he gets caught by the tail ends and gets electrocuted. Brims then realizes that he cannot handle this on his own and tries to escape, but is shot down, literally, by Blake's ability, and then he's cut down, pun definitely intended, by Kuyo. As he falls to the ground, Kuyo restrains him with his blades, keeping them at his neck, and then, as he tries to use a lightning attack, summons more blades and restrains his hands directly into the ground. So, Remy then unmasks him, and when she comes face to face with Ray's killer, assumably, it most likely was Brims at this point and not Vulcan, she tells herself to remain calm. And honestly, I really like this. I really like that both Remy and John, but like, like Arlo said a long time ago, Remy and John are very similar. Are similar in their personalities in some respects. So I really like, and we've seen Remy kind of spiral, not nearly as badly as John. I will say that Remy did not spiral as badly as John, but Remy can get obsessive like John can, and it's really cool to see both of them working on that part of themselves. With John, also having to put in the work of telling himself, remain calm, everything's fine, I'm in control. Remy clearly telling herself in this instance, because assumedly she's grown from her experience, she tells herself, stay calm, don't do anything stupid. So, Blyke and Ison, we get a brief shot of them as they discuss Brims having two abilities, pointing out that it's similar to John's ability and wondering if they're connected. Clearly they are, but they don't know that yet. Blyke points out, however, that Brims is bound to have another ability at his disposal for him to use, most likely referring to his own ability. That hasn't been revealed yet because Uru likes to play around. And they need to still be careful. Meanwhile, Kuyo is then shown recording his and Remy's interrogation of Brims as they talk about the authorities distributing the amplifiers to the lower tier districts to test them, taking the abilities of the vigilantes they kill, and paying off the media to keep quiet. Now, when he's asked why they're doing this, Brims mocks him for missing Ray and for teaming up with an inferior version of him. Remy immediately retaliates by putting her hand on his face and electrocuting him. And kind of Remy's not playing around. Remy is furious, and Remy's kind of taking a page from John's book. He wants to fuck around. He's going to find out, essentially. Now, when she does this, however, Blyke and Ison see this, and Blyke points out that she's never been like this before. He hasn't seen her like this before. And Ison just kind of plays it off like, hey, we just shouldn't make her mad. That's what we need to take away from this. But Blyke clearly shows concern for this as he watches her, probably remembering how obsessive and blindsided Remy can get, wondering if she is going to spiral out or if things are going to get worse again, if she becomes too obsessed with this. She's seen it before, and it wasn't good at all. So, Kuyo then points out that what we, the audience, already know. Shoutouts to Solo for pointing this out originally in the chat. Brims is definitely Byron, a member of the anti-terrorism department of the authorities, ironic since he's a part of Ember, and he offers for Brims to take them to the manufacturer of the amplifiers, or their conversation will be leaked. But Brims tells them that they have no credibility, and begins smiling as he tells them their time is up. And that's when I wasn't expecting this at all. Fury shows up and makes a move. Before Ison can warn Blyke, because he gets a sense, he clearly realizes someone's coming, and he tries to tell Blyke, someone's coming fast, we need to get out of here. But before he can, he gets a slash to the arm. Blyke gets a chunk, what looks like a chunk, taken out of his torso. And he lets out a horrible scream that we've never seen Blyke let out before. So, Uru, you play too much. You play too much, Uru. Now, guys, here's the scary thing though, when it comes to the reveal of Fury. Here's what I want to talk about real quick. Shoutouts to Michael, my mod, for bringing this up and to my attention. Because the thing about Fury, guys, the thing about her, we've seen Fury before. Well, I shouldn't say that. What I will say, we've seen Fury's eyes before. We've seen her eyes from two characters. And who are those characters, you might be asking? Who are the characters that we've seen with Fury's eyes? Well, we know how DNA tends to work in UnOrdinary. Usually, kids will get hair color from their one parent and eyes from another parent. And who has the same color eyes as Fury? Remy does. Remy and Fury have the same eye color. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jay, what are you talking about? Remy has the same eyes as her mom. And I gotta be honest, I'm not exactly 100% sure about the hair color. It does look similar in color, but I'm not 100% sure. But she does sport a similar style, though different, in a different ponytail, in a braid. Fury's hair is in a braid. But her hairstyle is similar to what Remy and Ray's moms had. Now, I can admit, this is a bit of a stretch on my part. I'm not that stupid. But there is one last thing I do want to point out. Now, when we met Remy and Ray's mom, she had a conversation with Ray, which back then I thought, that's awesome. It's great that they have a parent like this. It's great that this is who their mom is. But now with this theory in the back of my head, I can't help but think this is a similar conversation to what we heard before, to something else we've heard before. Back in the Ray side story, part 2, she tells Ray not to be worried about other people's levels, not to be concerned with it, to ignore that. And this got me thinking. This is similar, not the same. It is similar to how Valerie talks to Arlo. She tells him to drown out the noise. She tells him not to listen to others, not to worry about others, to only focus on himself. And here, Remy and Ray's mom tells him, don't worry about other people's level. You're strong. Just know that. And then she also mentions not to let others pressure you into doing things you don't agree with. Could she be speaking from experience? Is she a parent who says, do as I say, not as I do? Has she given in to that pressure and become a member of the authorities? A member who has to deal with the guilt that the people she works for took her own son from her. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.